Okay, we're here to talk about Task, episode 5 on HBO. This episode titled Vagrants, written by Brad Inglesby and directed by Jeremiah Zagar. After not being able to find Cliff, Robbie goes to confront Ray at his home. He learns that Ray is in custody with the FBI, meaning someone else arranged the meeting in the park about the drugs the night before. After visiting Maeve to get Billy's Dark Heart's vest, Perry is still very suspicious of Aaron, so he puts a tracker on her car. He follows her to a meeting with Robbie. Aaron tells Robbie that Jason came home covered in blood, and Robbie does finally realize that he has killed Cliff. Perry confronts Aaron about her lies and accidentally drowns her in a lake. As the FBI closes in on Sam's kidnappers, a sketch artist draws Robbie's description from the witness who saw him with Sam, and Sam's bucket that he was dumping in the lake had Maeve's fingerprints on it. Tom shares all this information with his team before heading out to Robbie's house alone. Grosso is then seen meeting with Jason of the Dark Hearts and passing information to him, revealing that he is the mole in the task force. Tom arrives at Robbie's house and pretends to be working on a cold case about Maeve's father, but Robbie sees through it and forces Tom to drive them to a meeting Robbie has set up at his old cabin about the drugs. And as the FBI team searches for Tom, Robbie lets him go into the woods after he makes Tom promise to leave Maeve out of whatever's going to happen next. Tom reconnects with his team at the FBI, and they head to the last known location of Robbie's car near the old cabin. Tipped off by Grasso, the Dark Hearts also start to close in on that location. And actually, our last scene is Tom and Robbie, guns drawn on one another.
Yeah.
I don't know that I expected that episode 5 of 7 would be the one where we got the Robbie and Tom, I don't know if it's called a confrontation, but they do finally meet here. It's
Yeah.
not maybe not quite what I expected, and we still have 2 episodes left after a lot happened in this one.
Yeah, let's start there, right? Because we made some predictions and such last week that were completely wrong in
Yep.
terms of what was likely to happen. We were sitting here saying, oh, okay, well, probably Robbie's going to take off in the car with the drugs and the kid and, try to elude the authorities and the bad guys. And no, that's not what happens at all.
Yeah.
Instead, everything really comes to a head. A lot happens in this episode, but there's kind of so much forward plot movement. Um, I guess apologies if it seems like we don't hit on it all. I think what we want to do more is probably focus on, I don't know, questions we have and
Yeah.
things like this, or maybe there's some stuff to interpret a bit more than
Hmm.
anything. But yeah, I mean, as you ran through the plot there, it's kind of like, okay, it goes
Yeah.
down. And then the episode when the episode ends, it seems like final confrontation time. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like you just said, basically, there's two more episodes, and I kind of have no idea how we have 2 more hours of story here, what they'll look like, but I'm very intrigued by that.
I felt exactly the same way, especially as in the scenes for next week, as it were. There's a lot of gunfire, people running through the woods, people scared, people running away. So, it's all going to kind of come to a head at some point in the next episode. And then what's left for episode 7? I am reminded a little bit. It certainly will not spoil anything of Mayor of Easttown that Brad Inglesby wrote, but there was what was thought to be a resolution in the penultimate episode, and then the last one he unveiled, oh, actually, there's not. There's a lot more that you haven't been told yet, and so could be sort of that model that's coming, but I don't know that there are a lot more secrets that we have still to uncover here. Maybe a couple of minor things, but we kind of know who's doing what, who's on what side, and sort of what's come to a head here.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there could be a lot of fallout,
Yeah.
and given the fact that we have two full episodes left, and it seems like the final confrontation is right there. Like
Yep.
maybe it takes all of episode 6, but it seems like it should be the beginning of episode 6. Um, that then maybe episode 7 is a lot about all the fallout. So I mean,
Yeah.
what ultimately happens with Sam, what ultimately happens with the Brandis family, what ultimately happens with the Dark Hearts, insofar as in this episode, as you mentioned, um, what's his name? Perry.
Harry. Yeah.
Um, discovers that Aaron has been feeding information to Robbie, and ends up killing her.
Hmm.
I don't think that was his plan. At least I don't. He didn't mean to kill her right then. I think that's pretty
Yeah.
clear.
My impression was, yeah, my impression was he was really just trying to keep her quiet because there are people literally up on the cliff who could have heard them. I think that he wanted to try to solve this another way, or at least maybe the protocol is we got to bring her in front of the council or bring her in front of the club, and we got to involve Jason in this somehow. I do not think that he meant to kill her right then. It certainly looked like he was A, remorseful at some point, and B, panicked at trying to, and he's covering up by telling these stories to Jason when, they can't find where she is.
Yeah, exactly, right. So, I mean, in the long run, maybe the plan would have been to kill her because she betrayed the group and so on, but that there should be a bit more of a process.
Right.
I think you're on the right track there. And so that's another thing, right? How does this all play out? Is one aspect of it going to be Jason finding out,
Yeah,
and
that,
what's
that
the
that's a very interesting piece that's left unturned right now is, yeah, what is Jason's reaction when there's actually been this sort of sense of, oh, the group has lost faith in him. But what if Jason discovers that Perry, his mentor, his father figure, has done this behind his back? Yeah, that's very intriguing to me.
yeah, so what the fall, and I believe the other guy who's like above Perry in the pecking order already said that they voted to uh I don't know, do what, I don't know exactly what to Jason.
Yeah, I
Take
mean,
away his position, but I don't know if like
yeah, eliminate something, whether it's his position or his life, at some point in the next couple of days.
I was gonna say, I'm not sure if this is the kind of organization where you can just get like demoted. I think that that
Right.
might mean they kill you, right?
Yes, I think
I
so.
I don't know. I am basing a lot on Sons of Anarchy, I suppose, right? I did read though that they had a or have had, I think it's a one season show, a consultant who used to be in a motorcycle gang
Oh yeah,
in
that would
Pennsylvania.
make sense. I know Sons of Anarchy did that as well. I mean, it does seem like a very, you know, from certainly an outsider perspective, realistic depiction of what's going on here.
Yes, we don't know, but yeah.
Yeah.
There's like a Hell's Angels place nearby here. I can go down there and be like, hey,
Oh
you
yeah,
guys have
just
you guys
ask
seen
them. Yeah,
Task? How's that?
just 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 get their feedback. Yeah.
How's it hold up? I'm just curious about your opinions here about TV. Um, so yeah, we've got all of that. We found out that Grasso is a mole in that scene. Jason gives him the phone back, which
Yes.
okay, put that back in evidence or whatever. A couple of things to talk about here. I guess one is, yeah, I was wrong. We were right to suspect Kristen Cole guy. Um, I suggested last week he might be squeaky clean, and it's like a red herring, but I don't think that's the red herring here. Although we also have to talk about Kath.
Yeah. So I went back and watched this because I think there's still a question on the table of, okay, Grosso is a mole. That's clear.
Yeah,
That's unimpeachable now. Is one? We saw her on the phone in episode 4 saying to someone mysterious on the phone, "We got a problem." I think
yeah.
that was an assumption that it was someone on the dark arts or someone who's on the other side of this thing. But could that have been this internal affairs person that she was talking to in this episode? But then Jason and Grasso have this conversation about the phone, and I think Grasso looks at it and says, "What's that?" And Jason says, "This goes in the evidence locker." So it's like
Oh, well, no,
someone, I need to verify that. I think that's what happened. So like someone else gave him the phone. Grasso didn't know anything about it or didn't know what it was, but he's been tasked with putting it back.
I don't, man. You should have mentioned this earlier. I'm going to revisit that. I don't think that's what he said. That
Okay,
doesn't
I may
match
have
with
that
my
completely
memory.
wrong, but
I started thinking, and also you changed your note on our show sheet from last night. But yeah, I also revisited that scene. And I guess it's at least a question, right? Even watching it again with this question in mind,
mhm.
the scene very much reads as though Kath is calling the Dark Hearts or something like that.
Yes, yes.
Um, it just feels that way. So I did start thinking though, well, is that misdirection? Because you're right, it could very well be that instead she was calling the internal affairs guy, what's his name, Connor, who doesn't know how to dress summer casual.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I revisited that scene too here this morning, and from episode 5, right? When that guy comes in and she makes that comment to him, he's like got files or whatever.
Yeah.
And he said, you got a moment to chat, and then they don't follow up on that. I mean, of course, a lot of other stuff ends up going on, but did he find anything? Because
Yeah.
it also in that scene, it feels like he did find something because he wants to talk to her about it. Um, but we don't find out what.
Yeah, we have
So
no sense, and I presume, well, I don't know if it could be at episode six because this is one of the threads that'll have to be pulled in seven because none of this is going to go down in terms of what we find out or uncover while they're out in the woods shooting at one another. I don't think. So it'll be more of a there are still surprises left in episode seven when we started to use your phraseology to use to find the fallout of all of this.
yeah, I definitely so I think it's an open question as to whether Kath is corrupted or a
Hmm.
mole or however you want to put that, right? Again, if you return to that scene in episode 4, she calls someone, she says, "It's me."
Mm. Hmm.
That's the first thing and I don't know, that gives a certain vibe, right?
Yes, it does.
Who do
Yes,
you
it
call
does.
up and say, "It's me"? You know?
Right.
Um, not
You're,
someone who has your name in their phone.
I was gonna say you're calling the burner phone that doesn't have any contacts listed in it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So it still has that vibe a little bit. We'll see. I did start wondering though, in retrospect, after we find out about Grasso, whether we've just been misled, but I kind of hope not because I'd have a little bit of a complaint if because that would just be for us, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Like, hey, let's just mislead the audience a little bit, and then they'll find out
Correct.
later.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of that sort of move in making television. So, um,
Are you worried about as Grasso and Lizzie are now out together, just the two of them? Are you worried about Lizzie,
yeah,
or are you thinking that she's going to be confronted with a moment and she's going to, as we saw in a couple episodes ago, she's going to not hesitate to have to take somebody down when she has to this time?
no, I'm more worried about her if I speculate about what might happen, right? Because as all of this starts playing out, Grasso is trying really hard to tell the Dark Hearts to not come to that cabin.
Right.
You know, it's like, look, Robbie kidnapped an FBI agent, and we're all on the way there. Like, do not go to that meeting. But they haven't listened to him, and so I am concerned, given the way that they split up.
Yep.
It's him and Lizzie are it's just the two of them, right?
Yep. That's right.
So if some kind of confrontation happens with the Dark Hearts in those circumstances,
Yeah. Well,
um,
he can easily just end her, and oh God, I was able to get away, thankfully, but they took her down, and there's no one to say anything different.
yeah, that's my fear is that
Yeah.
Grasso is going to kill Lizzie in those circumstances. At the same time, we've so far done a bad job of predicting this show, which I think is a good thing for the
That is a
writing.
good thing. Yeah.
So maybe that doesn't happen. For example, too with Sam, we were talking last week about okay, well, is Maeve really going to go turn him in? And we
Hmm.
went in the direction of thinking that that wouldn't happen and Robbie would take off with him or whatever. But that didn't. No, and Maeve goes and turns him in. Um, but I recall I also said something last week about how worried I was about some devastating moment to come with Sam, and maybe that'll still happen, but it hasn't yet.
But and how would it? He's off at another location with
Yeah,
other FBI agents we haven't seen before. I'm more worried that we're not like we're done with Sam. We never see him again. I mean,
yeah.
he's fine, but we just never see him again.
I kind of doubt that. Kind of doubt that. But it does feel like we probably are not going to see the scene where he learns that his parents are dead
Yeah,
because that must have happened by now.
I'm sure that's happened by now. But then also, they're not going to give him to Maeve. That doesn't make any sense. They're not. Are they going to give him to members of the motorcycle club? I mean, who are quote unquote family, but not really. I mean, it's like, what's his end game? I really don't know at this point.
Me neither, right? But that's something that I think we might get in the finale,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know. And yeah, of course, him going to live with Maeve would be sort of the happy ending. And I don't know if we should expect a happy ending from this show in any regard.
Yeah.
Um,
We might get Maeve reuniting with Robbie's kids at some point. I mean, that I could see happening, but even that, I'm not anticipating it will happen, as you said, because that would be somewhat of a happy ending.
yeah, I don't know. Like Maeve getting released or whatever would feel plausible to me.
Hmm.
Insofar as, I mean, when it comes down to it, what did she do that's illegal? I mean, it kind of boils down to the fact that she didn't turn Sam in for a few days.
Right.
You know what
That's
I
it.
mean? So it's like in that period of time, yeah, she could be on the hook for, um, some kind of conspiracy charge or,
Yeah.
I'm not a lawyer. I don't know exactly what it would be, but that would make sense. At the same
Yeah.
time, what she's got going for her is that ultimately she did turn Sam in, and it
Correct.
seems like she was going to proceed to give information about Robbie. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
You could very easily, Tom could very easily make the case of she was under duress because Robbie was there and was threatening her. Once Robbie was out of the picture, she was able to leave and take Sam. I think he can cover her that way.
yeah, she's ultimately cooperating and so on and
Yeah.
so forth. And so yeah, I think it would be plausible for her to meaningfully get out of the jam
Yeah.
that she's
Yeah.
in. It was taking a little while. And hopefully that happens because I like her, of course. Of course, we also have Perry figuring out Robbie's involvement and that scene between him and Maeve, which is loaded with tension. That was a very good scene.
Yeah, I mean you're still family. We're here for you. Him just walking in the house, not doing what she wished. I mean, quite oblivious to not seeing Sam in the chicken coop there, but I guess that's just we need that narratively. But yeah, I mean, I think Maeve, even if she gets out of this, she's not in the clear yet because there's some dark hearts things she still has to be concerned about.
Yeah, for sure. I do love this kind of scene though, and the guy playing Perry, whose name I don't have noted. I recognize him though from elsewhere. I feel
Yeah.
like, but he does a great job, and I love this kind of scene where you get lines like, we're still family, and the
Hmm.
subtext is, be careful, or we might kill you.
Yeah. I'm telling Aaron, I can help you get out of this, meaning we don't know what, but probably means you're going in the ground.
Yeah, so all of that.
James McShane, or sorry, Jamie McShane is Perry.
Jamie McShane. Um, you have him pulled up to see anything else he was in that we would recognize?
Let's see if there's anything else that I see here. A lot of just individual episodes of television, a lot for 30 years, it seems
All
like.
right, so very much that guy from that thing. Okay,
Yeah,
I got
26 years of,
it.
onesies and twosies episodes of television. Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Cool, but he's doing quite well in this role, and I feel like he probably has usually played similar roles. I don't know, put him in the Eric Lang bucket. Um, let's see. We have thoughts about the meeting between Tom and Robbie. I mean, this is really pretty extended. It's our
Hmm.
two protagonists finally coming together. Certainly, we've praised both performances here, and I found this all incredibly compelling. And I don't know what else I have to say about it.
Yeah, I maybe just assumed that their meeting would be when it finally happened would be antagonistic, would be, I mean, a real confrontation. But this was almost, in this car ride, like they're trying to find reasons to like each other, or realizing that we're both kind of vagrants in a sense, as Robbie or as Tom tells that story about the bird that's outside of where it should be. So I think completely sort of turning that confrontation on its head. I was just, you know, and almost this sense of not being face to face, right? Robbie being in the back, forcing Tom to do this thing, just a complete reversal of what you might have expected their eventual confrontation to be. Just was very powerful as we learned a lot more about these characters, just the two of them sitting and talking to one another.
Yeah, and I mean, it makes sense, tracks that ultimately I mean, at one level, of course, Tom is just being a good professional FBI agent by
Yep.
not
Yep.
freaking out too much or whatever. But, you do really get the sense that he feels like Robbie isn't an evil guy. He's gotten himself into some stuff, and
Yeah.
so the empathy you feel in that direction, I think, was one of the striking things from Tom to
Yes.
Robbie. Um, and then you also feel it in the other direction, where it does feel like the two characters almost bond in a certain kind of way. Um, and I think it also tracks that when it comes down to it, Robbie doesn't kill Tom in the woods,
Right. Right.
um, and lets him go. Although
Yeah,
now it's circled back
Robbie.
around to more of a confrontation. Confrontation.
Yeah, I don't think either one of them. I mean, certainly, I think Tom wants to kill anyone. I don't think Robbie wants to kill Tom. Robbie wants revenge against the Dark Arts. He got mixed up in an area where he didn't mean to get into with these drugs. He just wants revenge for his brother, which is a tale as old as time, and certainly something we can relate to. Yeah, I don't think he wants to do anything to Tom or anyone else. He sort of understands that this idyllic life of just him and Maeve and his kids is gone. And so what's left, all that's left for me is just take out as many dark hearts as I can before this ends. I think that's all he really wants at this point.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit more because I think we're on the same page here, but we should spell it out for people. Aaron told him that he couldn't sell the drugs because the Dark Hearts had talked to Freddie,
Right.
right? So Robbie knows that. Um, he has the weird opportunity maybe to pursue something with Ray's wife and that Lee guy
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
which does, excuse me, sorry. To be clear, that does not sound like a good plan.
Not at all. Well, she says she's a good person. Well, surely it's a good plan.
Yeah, okay, yeah, but okay. So I want to be clear. Yeah, I agree. It does not sound like a good plan. I don't trust her or anything like that. It still strikes me as a better plan than what he does
That's right.
if the goal is to sell the drugs,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That's right.
So at least as I'm putting this together, I think, basically you already got there in what you were just saying. Um, but my read is that he goes to Freddie, knowing that Freddie is going to call the Dark Hearts. And his plan actually is to set up this confrontation with the Dark Hearts at the cabin. You agree?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. He's sort of got the high ground or the familiar ground. He's gone and checked out the cabin. Now he's going to a different location where he can scout it out and see what happens when the Dark Hearts show up there, because they just know that they're going to Billy's old cabin. So yeah, he's got some sort of plan that's clearly not a meeting. It's clearly I want to confront these guys on my terms, on my turf.
Yeah, yeah. Or I don't know. They get into the cabin, they blow up the cabin. Who knows what his plan is? We'll see how much we can piece together when it ultimately unfolds next week, because it's certainly not going to go to plan because the FBI is also there. That's not part of
That's
his
right.
plan.
That's right. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, presumably, some people are going to die in the next episode. It's hard for me to see that being avoided, but
Yeah, it was an interesting cliffhanger to have the two of them sort of facing off with one another when we know that the FBI and the Dark Arts are going to be involved in this somehow. So the episode is not going to start with them shooting at one another. They're going to, I don't know, is Robbie going to convince Tom to be a part of something or go along with something? Is Tom going to convince Robbie that he can, I don't know, give some kind of benefit if he'll help him with the dark art situation. I mean, I have no idea where it's going to go, but it's not a confrontation between the two of them.
no. And then it's so Tom is yelling at Robbie, telling him it's over and so on. But then we see the dark cars, we see Perry, and they've heard Tom.
Hmm.
I don't know how close they are,
Yeah,
but maybe
yeah,
they're pretty close, and maybe this pretty quickly becomes a triangular kind of
yeah,
um,
I think so. I think that's exactly right.
situation. And then, yeah, where do we go from there? Um, again, I didn't do a real good job predicting what would happen in this episode, so I don't know if I'll do a good job predicting what will happen in the next episode. But I'm certainly imagining a lot of running in the woods and shooting and some death.
Yeah, the scenes from next week was very vague. A lot of close up people's eyes, a lot of onesie people running through the woods. That means there's a lot of things about to happen that we just can't unveil any of them.
Right, which I mean, you wouldn't expect them to. I don't even watch those things. Actually, I don't even see that. I don't know. Like the only show that I really enjoyed, and I'm probably this is probably in contrast to almost everyone in the world. I liked what Mad Men would do,
Oh, okay,
which
okay.
was I don't know if you recall this, but they would never give any information whatsoever. It was like you would see three still shots and a line out of context that meant nothing to you, you know. Next time on Mad Men, tick tick tick, nothing. Yeah. um, but yeah, I don't know. Let's say the other things to hit on here. I feel like there's more we should have to say, but I'm not sure what.
Well, let me use what you're saying there as a point to bring this up. I've kind of soured on this Sarah, Emily, the son in prison.
Oh,
It
okay,
just
yeah, yeah, yeah.
feels like I don't know what we're doing with that, particularly now, particularly with, okay, I get to guess they're worried about their father, so that's the objective of letting them have a conversation. But it's going to be really weird if they're in the next episode in the midst of all of this, confrontations happening at the woods. And then so now we're gonna have to spend some of episode seven like going to the hearing. Does Robbie and his adopted son reconcile? I just kind of don't understand what we're doing here with all of that. I get it that it's sort of set the context for Tom and who he is and what he's going through, but now it just kind of feels like it's just thrown in and it doesn't really make sense to me where it's fitting.
Yeah, it's interesting because personally, I guess in contrast to you, maybe, I do feel invested in that storyline, you know, so that scene, for example, between Sarah and Emily in the kitchen when they're worried about their father and all of that and the conversation that they have and you know, Sarah telling Emily that she doesn't want her to feel like she always had the only thing
Right.
she's allowed to express is gratitude, you know. It's like it's all working for me. I understand what you're saying though. How does it fit in
Hmm.
um, beyond being kind of backstory or characterization for Tom? I don't know.
Yeah,
Um,
maybe I'm just more confused as to how they're going to work this in the next two episodes. I can only anticipate that it'll be episode seven, then it comes back around.
yeah, I mean, I'm willing to wait and see.
Yeah.
But you know, there is some level where this does make me almost worried about Tom
Yeah.
because
Oh, absolutely.
narratively, like that would make it would narratively it would provide more justification for the Sarah and Emily stuff if Tom dies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I hope he doesn't though because I like him.
Yeah, and it's almost, are they setting the stage for him to have this, I don't know, this sense of he can find forgiveness or can find reconciliation with his adopted son, and but that clearly you can't have that if Tom doesn't make it back from the woods. Yeah, just you kind of need one or the other to go to happen.
Right. And there's also, I guess, I feel like there is some thematic parallel or resonance of what the experience that Emily has had
Hmm.
as having been adopted and all of that, and thinking about what's going to happen with Sam,
Yes,
you
yes.
know. So I think it works in that way. It fits in a lot of ways. But I do think you're right. I'm not sure how it's ultimately going to fit in terms of plot.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Like I was very invested at the beginning. I was very interested when they had I guess the blow up around the dinner table when the lawyer was there, and we sort of learn about what's happened and the relationship that these two sisters have. I don't know, just sort of maybe just hasn't kept the momentum I thought it would have throughout the rest of the
yeah.
season.
Mean another possibility is okay, so maybe this is Tom's story, and somehow the way that things go down between him and Robbie
Hmm.
takes him to a place where he can forgive Ethan.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
I think that's a possibility.
If he if he makes it out of there, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. So it's like, all right, the one possibility is he dies, and the other possibility is if he somehow finds a way to forgive his adopted son, or something like that, you know.
Yeah.
But it definitely does feel to me, knowing that there are two episodes left, that episode 6 is the climax. Episode 7 is going to be the fallout slash denouement, whatever, right? So I would expect something about Tom's family to be there meaningfully in episode 7. They've got
Yeah.
to pay that off somehow.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Um, and I have to say, because I'm sad I don't remember this. Um, Across 2 seasons, Jamie McShane played Cameron Hayes in 12 episodes of Sons of Anarchy. So he has played this role before.
There you go. There you go. As if he feels like such a fit.
Yeah.
Man, Sons of Anarchy. That's one where I was into it, and then I felt like it got bad, and I stopped watching it. And then someone convinced me to start watching it again, so I started
Mm.
watching it again, and I got into it again. And then the way it ended, I did not think was good. I
No,
guess.
I didn't think the ending was
Um,
great. It's got some of the most lasting, impressionable scenes from the past 20 years of television. Thinking about a couple ones in particular. But yeah, it wasn't I think it could have.
it also
Yeah.
got like
No
self-indulgent
tequila.
at the
Yeah,
end.
yeah.
It was like they stopped editing the episodes, and the episodes were just like 77 minutes long. Anyway, I don't know. Sorry, everyone. This isn't the Sons of Anarchy podcast, but if you've seen the show, you understand why we're like motorcycle gang, all that kind of stuff. All right. Anything else you want to say about this episode of Task before we wrap it up?
No, that's it. Quite a title on the next episode. You can go look it up.
Oh yeah, it's a
I didn't
long one.
I didn't look up yet what this is from, but the title of the next episode is a quote, "Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a river." So didn't
Yeah, we'll
Google
have
what
to
that's
look into
from.
whether that is coming from T.S. Eliot or something, or if it's
Hmm.
just, made up for the show.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that next week, though.
Stay tuned next time. Yeah.
All right. So thanks as always for listening. Hopefully you enjoyed the podcast. If so, please do leave a good rating, review, all that good stuff. If you're on YouTube, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Really appreciate it. You can follow the TV Obsessive on social media. If you search for TV Obsessive, you should find us on whatever platform, basically. And check out tvobsessive.com for written work on any number of TV shows, past and present. Coming up in the near future, we'll have stuff on the Chair Company. We're wrapping up our coverage on Peacemaker. I've been writing on Invasion. Ryan's going to write on It, Welcome to Derry, starting later in the
Yes.
month. And there's some other stuff probably I'm not thinking of at the moment also, but also a lot of older stuff and so on and so forth. So check out the site, and thanks for listening to the podcast. We'll be back with you next week.
All right. See you next time.